Maya, a data analyst, just received a 4.2% raise. 3 time zones away, her brother Leo just got his own review, 6%. Seeing those numbers on corporate letterhead triggers an immediate sense of validation. It feels like the system is finally recognizing your overtime, your weekend emails, and your loyalty. This reaction is built on the standard narrative of the modern workplace, the belief that working harder increases your labor value, which then translates directly into financial progress. That emotional payoff is exactly why the math is so rarely questioned. When you feel valued by the system, you're less likely to investigate whether that value is being delivered in a way that actually builds wealth. Maya doesn't celebrate. She builds a projection spreadsheet. She listens to Leo's plans for a new phone and a weekend trip, then tells him the math suggests his 6% raise is an illusion.
Her data reveals a highly specific mechanism, a raise structured to keep the recipient exactly where they started, effectively functioning as a retention instrument rather than a reward. This strategy triggers a cascade of hidden financial obligations, requiring the employee to stay with the company just to maintain their current standard of living. This bar represents Maya's 4.2% raise on her $78,000 salary, a gross increase of $3,276. This is the number she saw in bold on her review letter. But the moment that income hits the payroll system, new marginal tax rates activate. Federal taxes take 24% of those additional dollars. State taxes claim 5.7%. Social Security and Medicare take a combined 7.65%. Her actual net take-home pay is $1,987. Nearly 40% of the raise is reclaimed by the system before it ever touches her bank account. The number printed on the review letter is essentially a fiction, as the system is designed to capture a massive share of marginal earnings instantly. Behavioral economics describes a phenomenon called income shock. Within 90 days of an increase, the human brain typically resets its baseline of what it considers a necessity, often spending 65% to 90% of the new income. This chart tracks Leo's net raise of $2,880 against his new choices. He upgrades his car lease, joins a premium gym, and starts eating out more frequently. Each decision feels earned. Those upgrades create $6,432 in new annual obligations. Within 1 year, he has far exceeded his net raise, creating a deficit that locks him into his current role just to stay afloat. These new lifestyle costs act as a trap. To maintain this new baseline without falling into debt, Leo is now more dependent on his employer than he was before the raise. Many companies also shift fixed base salary growth into variable performance bonuses. This makes the income less predictable and ensures it doesn't compound for things like retirement contributions or Social Security. This flowchart shows the trade-off. An employer may grant a 4% raise while simultaneously reducing a 401k match by 1%. They then redirect those funds into a wellness perk that costs them less in long-term liabilities. This restructuring allows the company to publicize a raise while mathematically reducing the long-term wealth they owe to the worker. The cost of replacing an employee is often 200% of their annual salary. From a corporate perspective, a $3,000 raise is a massive bargain compared to a $60,000 replacement process. This comparison shows why the form of the raise matters. Standard cash raises tend to dissolve into lifestyle costs. Equity grants, however, accumulate and compound. This is why companies reserve ownership for leadership while giving cash to the general workforce. Employers use their access to compensation and retention data to engineer packages just high enough to prevent you from leaving, but structured to prevent you from building independent wealth. This curve shows the shadow cost of the trap. If Maya's $2,040 net raise were invested at 7% instead of spent, it would grow to $13,200 in 10 years and nearly $40,000 in 20. Success in this system requires separating the emotional validation of the review from the financial utility of the money. A raise is a test of whether you can protect new income from being absorbed by the system. Real financial control comes from the gap between what you receive and what you actively protect from these mechanisms. Building wealth isn't about the percentage on the page, it's about how much of that percentage stays in your control.